Real quick, I just want to play you this brief clip of Dana Bash saying something on CNN's Inside Politics, and then come back and just clarify a minor point, okay?
Talk about something that happened over the weekend, not in your district, in Columbus. A group of neo-Nazis paraded through that city waving swastikas, covering their faces. This is not the first time this sort of thing has happened in Ohio in particular, and of course it's continuing to spread. We don't know what side of the aisle this comes from. I mean, typically neo-Nazis are for the far right.
Yeah.
You had protests from the far left at your house.
Correct.
As a Jewish member.
Yeah.
So, just to clarify, she does say Nazi in the clip. She says neo-Nazi. She understands and recognizes that they are neo-Nazis that she's referring to. But then she says, of course, we're not really sure what side of the political spectrum they come from. Typically, Nazis are from the right. So just for the sake of clarity, for the benefit of Dana Bash, for the benefit of anybody else who's confused, because look, I'm not completely unsympathetic. I know politics is complicated, culture is complicated, it continuously evolves. We're always coming up with new concepts, new labels to apply to ourselves to describe our politics in ever more precise and individual detail, and it can be difficult to keep up with all of that. It can be difficult to keep track of all the hip new political labels that people use to describe their ideologies, labels such as Nazi. So, just for the sake of everybody who's confused, of everybody who has trouble remembering whether Nazis are right-wing or left-wing, here's a little mnemonic that I like to use. Nazis are always in the wrong, but always on the right. Right? Come on, it's easy. Nazis are always in the wrong and on the right. Because by definition, they're on the right. Nazis are right-wing. I know sometimes it confuses people, but Nazi stands for National Socialist, and aren't the socialists on the left? It's not the same thing. Don't even think National Socialist, okay? If this is difficult for you, if this is too much information for you to handle. Just think Nazi. Just think Nazi. They're fucking Nazis. They're on the right. Nazis are fascists. Fascism is a right-wing political ideology. Dana Bash seems a little confused by the fact that there is anti-Semitism on the left as well as the right. And maybe she's thinking, well, gosh, anti-Semitism is a key feature of Nazism. And if there's anti-Semitism on the left as well, doesn't that mean there are Nazis on the left as well? No, Dana. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. There are anti-Semites on the left, unfortunately. To my great shame and embarrassment as someone who identifies as a member of the left, not necessarily on the far, far, far left, but on the left, yes, there is anti-Semitism on the left. And it's inexcusable, and it sucks, and it's embarrassing, and we should call it out and confront it anytime we see it. But it's not the same as Nazis. Anti-Semitism is a bug on the left. It is a pillar on the right, particularly of Nazism. So let's try to keep it straight. And the reason why this pisses me off to the extent that I felt like making an entire video pivoting off of that one clip of Dana Bash saying something insipid and asinine on CNN is it feels of a piece of this broader project that the media, particularly the mainstream American political media, and not just the American political media either, but I'm going to talk just about that because that's the media I primarily consume as far as political media, the American political media. Lucky us. It's this long-term project that the American political media has been involved in for decades and decades of being obsessed with treating all sides equally. You want to be fair to the right and fair to the left. Oh, everybody always accuses the media of being left-leaning, the liberal media. That's the old saw, right? It's that damn liberal media. And there are people in the quote-unquote liberal media especially producers and studio executives and, bosses who really take that to heart, and they really don't like that. They don't want to be the liberal media. They hate that. They don't want people to think that they're biased. So they overcorrect, and they give way too much deference and way too much grace to people on the right who don't deserve any. Like, just because they're on the right, that doesn't mean you have to go out of your way to make sure that their voices are heard, that their perspectives are seen, that everybody understands what they have to say and what their version of the truth is, as opposed to the left. If the people over there on that side are mostly bigots and liars, which, in case anybody didn't notice, is the case, what happens is you end up equating people who are, just kind of normal, and are maybe they're wrong, maybe they're right. Occasionally, maybe they're a little dishonest. Maybe they're trying to frame things in a way that makes their side look good or that helps their argument, but they're not inveterate, determined, willful, constant liars like the people over there. The people over there on the right, my right, by the way, not your viewer right. For you, the right is over there. But that's confusing for me, as I said on camera, because for me, over here is the left. So let's just go with my right, shall we? The people over there on the right, that's become the cornerstone of their politics, creating their own alternate reality where the facts are whatever they say the facts are, and then getting other people, if not to believe it, to at least take it seriously and treat it as though it is deserving of equal time and equal respect to the actual truth. If you're a journalist, if you work at a news station and your job is to report the news, you don't need to worry so much about making sure that nobody accuses you of being biased against right-wing bigots and liars. If you are a journalist, if you are a reporter of the news, you should want people to think that you're biased against bigots and liars, because their entire worldview is built on false premises, the kind of false premises that you as a journalist, as a reporter of fact, should be involved in exposing on a regular basis. Here's another really easy way to remember this. If you're ever worried as a journalist, as a reporter, as a news anchor, as a host, as a whoever, if you're involved in the enterprise of journalism in any way, and you're worried about being biased, about being unfair to people on the right or people on the left or anybody, just remember this. It's really easy to keep track of if you just remember this. The truth is fair to everybody. It might not be flattering to everybody. It might not be what everybody wants to hear. It might not be what everybody wants everybody else to hear. But the truth is fair to everybody. So if you're a reporter or an anchor reporting on the news or reading the news or throwing to a reporter in the field who's going to update us all on the news, whatever part you play in this great big world of news, just remember, your job is not to go out of your way to be fair to one side or the other of our political spectrum. Your job is to report the truth. And as long as you do that to the best of your ability, as long as you're chasing the truth and not some manufactured concept of fairness and both sidesist neutrality, as long as you're chasing the truth, you can't go wrong. Because the truth is fair to everybody.